Well, it's that time of year. It's our annual chaos video, and we're going to just try and figure out what's going to happen at the Oscar nominations this year. I have no idea what's going to happen. This is just a crazy year. It's unlike any year I've ever seen before. So many different pundits doing different things, but we have all of the precursors done. We have all the nominations that we are going to get. Let's just do this one category at a time, and let's just see if we can figure out what's going to happen.
Hey everybody, Editor Jake here. I've shaved since then, but I wanted to share this. You're going to see a lot throughout this video, this chart that I used for keeping a tab of nominations, wins, across all the major precursors, across all the categories. And I've actually done this, not just for this year, but for every year in the 21st century, dating all the way back to the 2001 Oscars, where Gladiator won Best Picture. If you want to use that, you can look at it for yourself. It's open and available for everybody to look at, but that link is in the description below. Feel free to check it out, have fun with it. I'm also adding all sorts of stats and stuff like that. How do precursors align up with what the Oscars end up doing, so you can kind of see which ones work better. So it's a lot of fun. I've worked really hard on it, and I'm still adding stuff. So check it out down in the description below. Let's get into the predictions.
So let's start with Best Picture, shall we? Let's do this. I think our top 8 right here is pretty set in stone. We have The Brutalist, Emilia Perez, both of those won picture at the Golden Globes. Nora, which has done very, very well. We have Conclave. We have Wicked, which has also been doing well. A Complete Unknown, which actually I would probably put at number 5 right now. That is just beyond surpassed expectations. Has gotten in at a lot of major guilds. And so I think that's going to happen. But A Complete Unknown, Wicked, The Substance has done really well. Demi Moore is in contention to win the Oscar, which is a huge help for the film. And The Substance has just done really well in a lot of places. And then Dune Part 2 has kind of missed some key things here and there. We'll go over those later, but not Best Picture when there's 10 nominees. It's just kind of getting in. It's these last 2 spots down here that are the biggest pain. Not pun absolutely intended. So for a long time, it's been Sing Sing and Nickel Boys are those 9 and 10 spots. And with both of those getting into Best Screenplay at the BAFTAs, I thought that was a huge help for it. And then PGA happened and threw everything into chaos because both of those films missed in favor of A Real Pain and September 5, both films that got in at the Golden Globes and nowhere else. So it's a really, really interesting situation right here. So Sing Sing and Nickel Boys both only have Critics' Choice to their name. And so it's really hard to honestly pick one of those, especially with A Real Pain and September 5 both having 2 Best Picture mentions. I am going with A Real Pain and Sing Sing here. And I think the big thing here is, on top of being a contender in screenplay, which both Nickel Boys and September 5 are, the thing that helps these 2 movies out is that they have an actor coming along with it. A Real Pain has Kieran Culkin, who is the frontrunner to win the supporting actor Oscar, and then Coleman Domingo, who has gotten every major precursor so far in Best Lead Actor, and also Clarence Macklin, who's looking to get a supporting actor nomination. We're not sure if he'll get in or not. But I think the screenplay presence and the acting presence, having both of those above the line contentions, I think is a huge help for both of those films. But don't be shocked if September 5 gets in. I would be really shocked if Nickel Boys gets in. But I think September 5 could surprise and sneak in and possibly take out Sing Sing. I would hate that because Sing Sing is my favorite movie of the year. But I think that it's the best case that I can make for those bottom 2 slots. I mean, if we take a look here at our record book of just what's been getting nominated and stuff like that, you can see that A Real Pain here has only 2. It has PGA and Golden Globe. Same with September 5. And then Nickel Boys has Critics' Choice and Golden Globe. I forgot I got a Golden Globe drama mention. and Sing Sing only has Critics' Choice. But Nickel Boys, it feels like, has been absolutely absent everywhere. So I'm not sure what to do, but I think, like I said, having a screenplay and an actor kind of in there, in the conversation in both of those categories is really going to help for it. And I can't make a good enough case for either one of the other ones. Let's move on to Best Director. This is a category that the Oscars kind of like to do their own thing. They often pull off a lot of surprises, and it's been about 5 years since we had a year without any real surprises. But we could be facing that down this year. We also should probably be ready for more surprises. But let's talk through what we have right now. I think our top 4 is locked in. We have Brady Corbet for The Brutalist, Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez, Sean Baker for Anora, and Edward Berger for Conclave. Brady Corbet won the Golden Globe for director. So I think these 4 are locked in. If we look at our record book right here, you can see that they have just gotten everything. All 4 of these people right here just have all of the major precursors, so there's no need to doubt them here. The 5th slot is the one that's the trickiest. You could have Denis Villeneuve, who pulled off a surprise BAFTA nomination. This Critics' Choice is kind of obsolete because they nominated 8 directors in here, and it's just kind of crazy. So Denis Villeneuve is in there. James Mangold for Complete Unknown pulled off a surprise DGA nomination out of nowhere. But I think your number 5 here is Coralie Farge for The Substance. She's gotten in a few different places. She got in at BAFTA, she got in at Critics' Choice, and she got in at Golden Globe, which is pretty awesome. So 3 major precursors, that's pretty hard to bet against, and then the other 4 having all 4 major precursors. Again, it's kind of hard to not bet against that, but the Oscars like to pull off a lot of surprises. And so what are the potential surprises? Well, the first one that I would say is Denis Villeneuve for Dune Part 2, but the reason I doubt that is because they snubbed the first film in director. They snubbed Denis from the first film in director, and so I have zero faith that they'll nominate him for the second one. It's a lot more crowded of a director year this year. And then the other person I think that could surprise here is actually Ramel Ross. Ramel Ross only has a Critics' Choice nomination. Keep that in mind. But the Oscars like to go with directors that have this very unique auteur vision. And Nickel Boys certainly is that, has this very unique style and vision. But with Nickel Boys missing ASC, missing all over the place with cinematography, which is insane to me, by the way, I can't predict that. And I can't expect the Oscars to do something crazy because sometimes they don't. As we saw 5 years ago with the 2019 films, when Todd Phillips stayed in director, they didn't nominate Greta Gerwig for Little Women, and that was that. So I think that this is your Director 5. I don't have much reason to at least predict anything else, but watch out. The directors go a little crazy sometimes. Lead actress, we are kind of in a similar state as director. We have 4 people who have gotten in everywhere. That is Demi Moore, who ended up winning the Golden Globe, Mikey Madison for Anora, Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez, and Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. Those are your 4. They're for sure getting in. The 5th slot is a little tricky here. So we have Marianne Jean-Baptiste, who I believe got in at Critics' Choice and BAFTA. Yes, Critics' Choice and BAFTA. And then you have Pamela Anderson, who has the other 2 major precursors, SAG and Golden Globe, as you can see right here. Pamela Anderson, SAG, and Golden Globe, and then Marianne Jean-Baptiste right here. So it's tricky, and we're not sure what can happen. And so I'm inclined, honestly, right now in this moment, I think I have to go Pamela Anderson. It feels like the movie that could get nominated at the Oscars. And the other part of that equation is Jamie Lee Curtis, who we'll talk about in supporting actress. So I'm feeling Pamela Anderson gets in. they've been doing some sort of stealth campaign here, and I don't know what to do, but I feel Pamela Anderson. It could be Marianne Jean-Baptiste. It could be Fernanda Torres, who won Drama Actress at the Golden Globes. We have no idea, but it's a crazy year. But I feel like right now it's Pamela Anderson, and again that ties in with the Jamie Lee Curtis piece, and we'll talk about that in supporting actress in a second. All right, lead actor. This is probably the easiest acting category to predict. We have 5 really solid contenders here. So you have 4 people that have gotten in everywhere, like always. Adrian Brody, The Brutalist, Timothée Chalamet, Complete Unknown, Ralph Fiennes, Conclave, Coleman Domingo, Sing Sing, and those 4 have gotten in everywhere. The 5th slot is a little dicey. It's not too bad, though. So Daniel Craig for Queer is the front runner. He surprised got nominated at SAG. People weren't really expecting that, but he missed BAFTA, and that's a British dude. So it leaves a little bit of doubt as to if he can end up getting the nomination. I think if there are 2 people that could take his place, I think that could be Sebastian Stan, who has Golden Globe, he has BAFTA, and then Hugh Grant, who actually has 3 major precursors. But Heretic is not the kind of movie that the Oscars go for that often. It's a bit of an interesting pick. And so I feel like they'd be more inclined to go with something like Sebastian Stan in The Apprentice. It's a big transformation, and Trump is a big figure. And that movie is kind of a middle finger to Trump, and so they kind of want to go. They'd rather go that route as to something like Hugh Grant, which is just a very big, expressive, fun little character piece. But I still think they'll do Daniel Craig for Queer. It's just gotten a lot of major precursors. So you can take a look at that real quick. You can see Hugh Grant does have those 3 right here: BAFTA, Critics' Choice, and Golden Globe. But Daniel Craig, he has 3 as well, with SAG, Critics' Choice, Golden Globe. And I think that SAG piece is a little bit more important for getting the Oscar than BAFTA. They're both equally as important, but I think when we're looking at these, I think the SAG voters are going to play a bigger role to getting him nominated. And so I just think Daniel Craig is going to be that 5th slot. Supporting actress is one of the most insane categories this year. I have no idea what I'm going to do. But here we go. So we have 2 people that have gotten everything. We have Zoe Saldana and Ariana Grande. They've gotten everywhere. Congrats, you're getting nominated. I think Isabella Rossellini is also going to get nominated. Now, she did not get SAG, but that was kind of expected. Isabella Rossellini's performance in Conclave is not as showy as SAG usually goes for. It felt kind of right for SAG not to nominate it. Felicity Jones has missed quite a bit, has not been favorable in this season. So if we take a look, Felicity Jones is all the way down in this number 5 slot for me, only has BAFTA and Golden Globe. But here's the thing that helps Felicity Jones and why I think Felicity Jones has a better shot than somebody else to get that Oscar nomination, and that is that she is involved in a Best Picture film, especially something like The Brutalist, which is a massive contender right now, and is one of the major frontrunners. So I think that's going to really help Felicity Jones out. They usually don't spread the love too much with their films at the Oscars. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they go a little crazy, but being part of a major Best Picture contender is really going to help Felicity Jones here. My number 5 slot, and I hate that I have to do this, is Jamie Lee Curtis for The Last Showgirl. It's crazy. Margaret Qualley got Golden Globe and Critics' Choice and then just completely dropped off. Once we got into industry stuff, she just completely dropped off. Jamie Lee Curtis was non-existent at Golden Globe and Critics' Choice. And then guess who gets both industry awards with BAFTA and SAG? Friggin' Jamie Lee Curtis in The Last Showgirl. Nobody was expecting her to get nominated. It's crazy. So, I think it's going to be Jamie Lee Curtis, The Last Showgirl. Again, this ties in with Pamela Anderson, The Last Showgirl. They're kind of a little tag team happening right now. But I think the thing that is interesting here, this feels to me like Nyad last year, like Annette Bening and Jodie Foster getting nominated for Nyad last year. And I just have that very similar feeling of they might just both get in. And it's crazy the whole time. Margaret Qualley would actually be my number 6 right now. If I had to pick a number 6 or she'd be number 7 right now. My true number 6 is Selena Gomez, who just got in at BAFTA while missing SAG. Amelia Perez being a major Best Picture contender right now, that's hard to ignore. And so I think Selena Gomez at least has a better shot of getting in the Oscar 5 lineup as Margaret Qualley is right now, just with what she has missed. So I think that's your 5. I hope I'm right here. Jamie Lee Curtis. I haven't seen The Last Showgirl. She could be great in that movie, but I don't know. That's just what I'm feeling with this category. It's crazy. Supporting actor. This breaks my dang heart. So, Kieran Culkin is your front runner. He's gotten in everywhere. Won the Golden Globe. This is great. This is great news. Edward Norton has been the surprise, has gotten everything. And so Edward Norton is just in. He is just in. Yura Borisov as well has everything. Even when people thought he was going to miss at SAG, he didn't. He came with the movie, and he's here. Yura Borisov is getting nominated for the Oscar, and I love that. His performance is great. Guy Pearce was number 2 until about a week ago with SAG. He missed SAG. And Guy Pearce, I don't know if you've seen the trailers or if you've seen the movie at all. I'm actually seeing the movie tomorrow from when I'm recording this. But Guy Pearce is very explosive in this movie, is putting on a big performance. And he missed SAG. So he got back in at BAFTA. And I think, again, with him being in The Brutalist, with that being a big Oscar contender, and him only missing one precursor, that's not going to hurt him too much. Guy Pearce is in for the Oscar. But I think that just makes Kieran Culkin the runaway front runner to win the Oscar. This 5th slot is the one that breaks my heart, because Clarence Macklin should be getting nominated here. He absolutely should be getting nominated here. But look how well Jeremy Strong has done. He has BAFTA, he has SAG, he has Golden Globe. And Clarence Macklin's down here with BAFTA and Critics' Choice. That's all he has. And it hurts. Because Clarence Macklin is legitimately one of my favorite performances of the year. But when you look at this, it's hard for me to predict him. I think he could surprise. I want to make that clear. I do think he can get in. And I think Sing Sing is in a weird spot right now. And I think he could get in. I think the Oscars aren't going to go crazy for it. I think Coleman Domingo will get in. I think it'll get an adapted screenplay. That could be where the nominations stop. But it could also get picture. It could also get Clarence Macklin. But my line of thinking is, if it gets in at Best Picture, Clarence Macklin's probably coming with it. Or maybe it doesn't. I don't know. It's a crazy time out here. I have no idea. So right now, I have to stick to the stats. I had to stick with Jeremy Strong. Even though Clarence Macklin could very well get in, that's just where I'm at right now. That's just what I have to do. But I legitimately am praying that Clarence Macklin gets in here, because he deserves it. So remember how I just said that I'm going to stick with the stats? I'm not going to stick with the stats here. Original screenplay. So I think we've got Anora, The Brutalist, The Substance, A Real Pain. They're happening, all right? They're just happening. That 5th slot is crazy. And I think it's between September 5 and Challengers. Now, let's take a look at the little leaderboard right here. Shkadoop. So, when you look here, we have Challengers right here, has WGA, next has Critics' Choice. This is good. Now, you'll notice The Brutalist and The Substance don't have WGA. They were both ineligible. WGA is kind of known for its ineligibilities. Right? So, Challengers, WGA, Critics' Choice did not get BAFTA, did not get Golden Globe. Golden Globe only has one screenplay category, so you'll see there's quite a few missing here. September 5, just chilling here with Critics' Choice. Chilling here with Critics' Choice. And what are we supposed to do with that? What does that mean? Why am I picking September 5 right now? The answer here, to me at least, is PGA. September 5 getting in at PGA was massive. It was a huge freaking deal, I think, for that movie to get PGA to see the show of support that is happening for that movie. I think it's happening, and challengers could get in, and I don't know. September 5, again, has a shot of getting in at picture, but I don't have it in right now, and I feel like if it was to get in picture, like you would have to have it in screenplay. And so I think for a film to be that strong in the Best Picture conversation of this very well could get in, you have to put it in screenplay. And that's how I feel right now about this. That's the best way that I can approach this. Challengers could get in. I think if the final two Best Picture slots are Nickel Boys and Sing Sing, you could see challengers take this number 5 slot. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And that's enough for me to keep in September 5, I think. So there's that. Okay. Adapted screenplay is even crazier now. So Conclave won the screenplay award at the Oscars, like one screenplay category, Conclave won. So that is for sure locked in. I think it's locked in to win the Oscar. Emilia Perez, I think, is locked to get in here because it's just a strong Best Picture contender. The rest here is a little crazy. So let's take a look at the stats. So we have Nickel Boys right here with BAFTA, WGA, and Critics' Choice. Again, WGA has a lot of ineligibilities, so Conclave missed, Emilia Perez missed, Sing Sing missed, all for that reason. So you can't really factor that in when talking about those three films. So I think Nickel Boys could get in here. I think the bright spot for Nickel Boys is that it got in the BAFTA 5 for Best Adapted Screenplay. I think that was a huge showing for it. So I think that is going to happen at the Oscars. It shows that there's still some support behind that film. Complete Unknown has been a surprising player in this award season. It got in at WGA. Again, there's a lot of ineligibilities, but Complete Unknown gets in, and it gets in at BAFTA, and it got in the BAFTA 5 lineup for Best Film. So with a Complete Unknown success, I feel like I have to predict that as well. My number 3 is Sing Sing. Sing Sing also has BAFTA and Critics' Choice. It's missing WGA, but it was ineligible. So I think Sing Sing's going to get in here. And I think also Sing Sing getting in to the BAFTA adapted screenplay lineup was massive. And it was enough to keep it alive, at least in this category. So I think that's your 5. I honestly, here, let's fix this because I think Complete Unknown has a better shot of getting in here. I think if there are 2 films that could surprise, I think it could be Dune Part 2, which has gotten in some places. We can take a look at that real quick. Dune Part 2 gotten in WGA, it got in Critics' Choice, and then Wicked is the other one, it got those same 2. So again, the WGA noms could be because of the ineligibilities. We have no idea, but I think if there are 2 films that could take that out, actually I'd probably put, I don't know. I'll probably keep. I was trying to decide if I wanted to switch Dune Part 2 and Wicked down here. But I think Dune Part 2 is a little bit more likely. So, anyways, here's what I think for your Adapted Screenplay 5. That's all of your above-the-line players. Let's get into the rest of them. And now we have reached the craziest category, other than Best Picture, in the entire Oscar race right now. Let's talk about cinematography. Boy, ASC is going crazy and just switching everything up. So, let's talk here. There are 4 films here that have gotten everything. We have The Brutalist, we have Dune Part 2, we have Conclave, and we have Nosferatu. All 4 of those films have gotten everything. as you can see right here. They've gotten everything. Wicked surprised at ASC with an insane nomination. It also got Critics' Choice, but Critics' Choice kind of went crazy for Wicked, and so we thought that was just a random thing. Apparently the guilds went crazy for Wicked too, because they nominated Jonathan Bailey and at SAG and stuff. But anyways, I don't think Wicked's going to get in here. I don't think it's strong. It didn't get in BAFTA, so I don't think Wicked is strong here. They usually go for the more technical kind of achievements here. Let's take a look here. I think it's going to be a complete unknown. And that's a crazy fact of life that I'm predicting that movie for cinematography. But let's take a look at the stats. Kaboom. So, A Complete Unknown only has ASC. Maria only has ASC. Amelia Perez only has BAFTA. I think that needed ASC to get in. I think Amelia Perez is done to get into the Oscar. And then Nickel Boys with Critics' Choice only. That is insane. I haven't seen the movie yet, but that is insane. That is stupid. So, anyways. But I'm going with A Complete Unknown here because it's a Best Picture contender. It's strong for Best Picture right now. Every guild went crazy for it. It got a director nomination at DGA. That kind of shows that it could be strong for cinematography. And with just how well that movie is doing as a whole. The Complete Unknown is just surprising people. And so I am going to go with The Complete Unknown here in that fifth slot for cinematography. I think Nickel Boys is down there in the lineup as well. I think Maria could get in as well. Amelia Perez could possibly sneak in. Who knows? Who the frick knows at this point? But so it's crazy. It could be anything. It could be any of those four films. Heck, maybe Wicked even gets in. I don't know. But that's what I'm predicting. I'm predicting A Complete Unknown. And we'll see what happens, man. I don't even know. I want to be done with this category.
So I didn't realize this until after I recorded the video, but ASC had like 7 nominations. So it's not going to be the most reliable precursor just because so many films got in there. But I think the key with looking at ASC is what isn't there, like what missed it. And I think that's where that really hurts Nickel Boys. Because if Nickel Boys can't even get in a lineup of 7 at ASC, that's crazy. And that is really bad for that movie trying to get into cinematography at the Oscars. Also, I know I said earlier that I haven't seen Nickel Boys or The Brutalist yet. I've seen both of those films now, and it is insane to me that Nickel Boys is like possibly not getting an Oscar nomination for cinematography. That's stupid. It's insane.
For Best Editing, we have, I think, 5 contenders here. They're all pretty strong. We have 4 films that have made it everywhere. Anora, Dune Part 2, Conclave, and Amelia Perez. They've all gotten it everywhere. If you want to take a look at the stats, here you go. Amelia Perez did miss Critics' Choice. Critics' Choice didn't go crazy for that movie. I did forget that. But, I mean, they've gotten the 2 guilds. So that's the important thing. So I think Amelia Perez is for sure getting in. It's a musical. Musicals have fast editing and stuff like that. And they like to go for that. So I think my 5th option here is Challengers. Again, I'll pull this back up. It has 2 precursor nominations. The only one with 2 precursor nominations other than those other 4. Has Eddie, and Critics' Choice did miss BAFTA, and that could show weakness. But I think Challengers, the way it's edited, the nonlinear structure of that is going to be very appealing for Oscar voters. So I'm going to go with that. I mean, maybe The Substance surprises. Maybe The Brutalist comes out of nowhere, but I don't think so. I think the 3.5-hour runtime is scaring people. September 5, that could surprise. Again, with that PGA mention, it could get in. I don't know. But I don't think Kneecap, Furiosa, Civil War, Real Pain, Wicked, I don't think those have a shot at getting in. And so it just forces my hand to Challengers. That's what I got. Man, isn't it fun when the precursors actually make my life easy. Let's talk about production design real quick. We have 5 movies that have gotten in everywhere. It's the only 5 that have gotten in everywhere. We have Wicked, The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Conclave, Nosferatu. Again, it is the only 5 that have gotten in everywhere. We have Gladiator 2 that got Art Directors Guild and Critics' Choice. Art Directors Guild is like 3 different categories: contemporary, fantasy, and period. And so Gladiator 2 got nominated there. And that's why there's so many nominations there. But again, we only have 5 that have gotten in everywhere, and so it makes it really easy to predict for the Oscar. If there's one that I think I could surprise, maybe A Complete Unknown, or Gladiator 2, maybe A Complete Unknown, maybe Beetlejuice. I don't know. I don't think any of that's happening. Costumes is a little bit more interesting. We have 3 films that have gotten in everywhere. We have Wicked, Conclave, and Nosferatu. Makes those really easy to nominate. And then we have 3 films that have gotten in at 2 of the major precursors. So let's take a look at those just real quick. We have Costume Designers Guild and Critics' Choice. All of those went with Dune Part 2, Gladiator 2, and Maria. And so you kind of just have to pick 2 of those 3. Which 2 of those 3 do you think has the best? I think Gladiator 2 and Dune Part 2 have the most showy costumes. Maria is like a period drama, royalty, and so you could go with that one if you really wanted to. But I think Gladiator 2 and Dune Part 2 just had the flashier costumes. I think there's more behind those costumes. So I'm going to pick those. Could be Maria swapping in for one of those 2. Honestly, I hope not, though, because Gladiator's costumes are insane. Dune's costumes are insane. Maria, it's like, you're wearing clothes? I'm kidding. I'm fully kidding, of course. But, I don't know. That's what I got. Again, Maria could swap in, but I'm going to go with Dune Part 2 and Gladiator 2. Okay, makeup and hairstyling is a little bit interesting here. So, this is another one where I'm kind of defying the stats a little bit. Okay, so let's talk about kind of the locks here. We have The Substance, we have Wicked. Those are getting in. If we take a look here at the chart, those are the 2 that have been nominated everywhere. The Substance and Wicked, they're getting in for sure. And then you kind of have a bunch of films here that have been nominated for 2. So Dune Part 2 has BAFTA and Critics' Choice. Nosferatu has BAFTA and Critics' Choice. Amelia Perez has BAFTA and Hair and Makeup Guild. And then Beetlejuice, and A Different Man both have Makeup Guild and Critics' Choice without BAFTA. So it's a little bit interesting as to what can happen here. You kind of have, 5 films that could potentially find their way in because they have multiple precursors. So let's see here. I went with Amelia Perez and A Different Man. Here's why. So Dune Part 2 kind of has the prosthetics that the Makeup Guild or the makeup branch really likes to go for at the Oscars. They love prosthetics, which is why The Substance is probably going to win this award. And that's why I'm also going with Nosferatu. They love the prosthetics. And they nominated the first film, Dune Part 2, and it's a lot of those same ones. The true makeup difference in the second one from the first one is just for Fade Rafa, Austin Butler's character, who is the bald one, doesn't have the eyebrows and stuff. And so with these last 3 spots, I'm going Nosferatu, Amelia Perez, and A Different Man. I think A Different Man, even though it only has those 2 nominations and it doesn't have BAFTA, I think the fact that they are it's a really flashy prosthetic piece. I think they're going to go for A Different Man. And then Amelia Perez transforming Carla Sofia Gascon's character for the first 40 minutes of the film or so. I think they're going to do that as well. I think Amelia Perez's strength in Best Picture helps its case here. What you kind of see a lot of the time is you see the makeup and actor combo get nominated together a lot of the times. And they win often a lot of times too. So think about Jessica Chastain winning for Eyes of Tammy Faye, and Eyes of Tammy Faye winning for makeup as well. You have something like Brendan Fraser winning for The Whale, and The Whale winning hair and makeup at the Oscars, even though Elvis was kind of expected to win there. I think we could see that with Amelia Perez, with Carla Sofia Gascon getting nominated in Best Actress, and I think this film will kind of tag along with the makeup nomination as well. So that's what I'm saying. Dune Part 2 could get in. I mean, it's got the prosthetics, especially on Stellan Skarsgård's character. You also have Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, it's just lots of crazy hair and fun makeup and stuff like that. But sorry about that. But that's what I'm thinking right now. They just like the prosthetics. They like the character transformations. So that's what I'm going with. Visual effects is a pretty easy one. We have 5 films that just kind of stand out above the rest. So we have Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Better Man have been nominated everywhere. Those are getting in, whether you think Monkey Man is getting in or not. Better Man is, I forget there's actually a movie called Monkey Man. I can't just say that. But yeah, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Better Man, all getting in here. They've been nominated everywhere. And then the other 2 here, Gladiator 2 and Wicked, are the only other 2 films that have 2 precursors. Wicked, I didn't know if it was going to get in. Both those films missing VES is kind of crazy. VES in the main category went with Mufasa and Twisters. And then the rest of these are supporting. But I think those 2 are still going to get in. Gladiator 2, the way they transport you back to ancient Rome. And then Wicked, you have all the animals and the backdrops and the scenery of Oz and the way that works with the production design. So I think that's going to be your 5. You'll see here that Alien Romulus is nowhere to be found on here. And yet it's my number 6. Interesting, huh? Alien definitely showed up pretty well on the Oscar shortlists and did pretty well. Alien Romulus also showed up with the Sound Guilds, and so that has a shot. And I think the sound visual effects pairing could kind of go well together. And so I'm thinking that Alien Romulus could potentially sneak in, maybe swap out Wicked or something like that. But I can't predict it just because it has 0 precursors in visual effects. But the Oscars do like their space movies, and so sometimes they just nominate stuff out of nowhere, and it's fun. So maybe Alien Romulus gets in. I would love for it to get in, especially over Wicked, but I can't predict it because it has 0 precursors. But here's where we're at right now. Animated feature, we have 5 that are just getting in. These are locked. These have been locked since the start of the season, and I don't have to spend much time on these. Wild Robot, Flow, Inside Out 2, Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul, and Memoir of a Snail. The only one here that doesn't fit in with the rest is Memoir of a Snail. It missed BAFTA, but BAFTA only has 4 animated films get nominated in that category, and so Memoir of a Snail just missed. So I have that at number 5. I literally can't think of another film that could get in. Like, a Moana 2 ain't happening. I got nothing. It's these 5. It's this 5. You can take that to the bank. Okay, best sound. Let's talk about this one. This one's a little bit interesting. Actually, I want to start with the chart with this one. So, Dune Part 2 has been nominated everywhere. BAFTA, MPSC is the sound editors, CAC or the Cinema Audio Society is the sound mixers. There's a difference in those 2. The Oscars have combined those 2 categories of sound editing and sound mixing into one sound category, but both of these precursors play a role. So, Dune Part 2 has gotten all 3 of those. It's the only one with all 3 in the editing, mixing, and BAFTA. BAFTA only has one sound category as well. So it's gotten in all 3 of those places. It's getting in. It's probably winning at this point. Anyways, Gladiator 2 and Wicked both have BAFTA and Cinema Audio Society. Pretty good combo to get into the Oscar. Deadpool and Wolverine. This is such an interesting pick because it has MPSE, which is Motion Picture Sound Editors, and Cinema Audio Society. And so I'm kind of tempted to predict it, which is crazy because normally a Marvel movie doesn't really have this kind of presence. But here it is. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm not predicting it right now. But watch out for it. You can get in. BAFTA, with its final 2 slots, went for Blitz and The Substance. I'd love for The Substance to get in, but it didn't make the Oscar shortlist, so it's not going to get nominated here. I think Alien Romulus could get nominated here. MPSC, the sound editors, this is more kind of what you want to go for. You want the actual creation of the sounds, but also sometimes they like the sound mixing. Sometimes they emphasize that in a movie too. I'm going with The Complete Unknown here in my number 4 slot. They like to go for the music movies. Think of A Star Is Born. Think of Bohemian Rhapsody, which won both of the sound awards, which is crazy. But so I think A Complete Unknown could get in here. The concert scenes, the way that they use the music and the way they mix it and stuff like that, I think it could get in. And my number 5, I'm going with Alien Romulus. It only has MPSE, but I think that and how well it did on the short list is going to help that. And this is, again, I mentioned that it could also get visual effects. I think Alien Romulus could surprise with a couple of nominations, but I'm predicting it here for Best Sound. Watch out for Deadpool and Wolverine, man. It has both guilds. You never know. And then I also have Emilia Perez in here. Emilia Perez hasn't gotten any precursors, but it's a Best Picture contender. It's a music film, so it's something to potentially watch out for. It could be just a crazy lone sound nomination. Best Original Score. This is actually a pretty simple one, and I appreciate that. So we have the Brutalist, we have Conclave, we have Emilia Perez, we have The Wild Robot, and then I have Challengers in here. So that's my 5. Let's take a look here at the sheet. So we have Conclave, Brutalist, Wild Robot, and Emilia Perez all getting nominated at all 4 major precursors. That's really hard to go against. I will say this, the Oscars sometimes just hate animated films. In recent years, they especially have. And so The Wild Robot could get randomly snubbed on Oscar morning. They did that with Pinocchio. They did that with Spider-Verse, even though Spider-Verse didn't have as many precursor nominations as Pinocchio did. But watch out for that. That could possibly get snubbed, but I don't think it will. I think we're fine. And then Dune Part 2 here has the Society of Composers and Lyricists, Critics' Choice and Golden Globe, but the problem is it's not eligible. It's not eligible. They said it's not an original score, which is stupid because it is. So then my last option, I have to go with the one with multiple nominations and also the only one with a win under its belt, and that would be Challengers. The Oscars love Reznor and Ross. They've given them multiple Oscars, so I have no reason to pick that. Pick anything else over Challengers. Challengers, I think, is just going to get in. It could maybe win. I'd love that. This is my 5. Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Wild Robot, and Challengers. So that's my 5. We'll see what happens. Okay, let's talk about Best Song for a second. This one's interesting. So El Mal won the Golden Globe. That's going to get in. Mi Camino is the other Emilia Perez song. That's going to get in. So pick both of those. The Journey from the 688. This is Diane Warren. We learn this every year. The Academy loves Diane Warren. And although I doubt they'll ever give her an Oscar, they always nominate her. So I am picking The Journey. I have it above Kiss the Sky. Even though Kiss the Sky has more precursor noms, I'm putting this above Kiss the Sky, A, because sometimes they hate animated movies, and B, they love Diane Warren. So I think The Journey is for sure getting in. Kiss the Sky, I think will get in. It's gotten, like, pretty much everything. Kiss the Sky, well, it's gotten Critics' Choice and Golden Globe. It missed the Society of Composers and Lyricists. SEL has 2 categories. They have, like, for a dramatic film and for comedic film. And so Kiss the Sky did miss that. That's a little crazy. So we're on alert for a snub here for that one. But I think we'll be okay. I really hope so, because Kiss the Sky is a great song. My 5th option has 0 precursors, and I'm really just banking on the success of Sing Sing, but I'm going with Like a Bird from Sing Sing. And I think if the Academy goes for Sing Sing, which I'm kind of predicting that they are right now, is I think they'll pick up this song. I think the fact that it was shortlisted is helpful. So I think it might get nominated. Compress Repress has done better than expected with precursors, but to me that doesn't feel like the type of movie, the type of song that the Oscars go for. It just doesn't feel that way to me. They like the dramatic songs. that go well with the movies, or if it's like a really flashy song, something like El Mal or Mi Camino, something that fits like a Best Picture contender or whatever. That's usually the songs they go for. They don't go for the compress repress, which is this very repetitive kind of alt techno banger. I think the other one that could get in is Harper and Will Go West from Will and Harper. That documentary is kind of possibly poised to get in. That song has gotten in a couple of precursors, so I think that could possibly happen. But I'm not putting too much stock in it. So I think Like a Bird from Sing Sing probably has the best shot here. Maybe Compress Repress. I could be eating my words. I feel like I'm more manifesting than anything with Like a Bird. I hope it gets in. It's a good song. And I wasn't a huge fan of the song Compress Repress. It's just the same thing over and over again. But that's what I'm thinking. We'll see what happens. This is a fun, interesting one. And then the last one we're going to talk about, I'm not going to talk about the documentaries or the short films or anything like that because I just don't know anything about those. But we'll talk about international feature. So Emilia Perez is winning. It's a major Best Picture contender, so it's winning. Seat of the Sacred Fig, I'm Still Here, have both gotten in everywhere. So those are good bets for the Oscar. Kneecap did really well at BAFTA. Didn't get in the Best Film, but it got in the long list for Best Film, which is only 10 films. And so Kneecap did really, really well here. So I'm predicting that to get in, and it's gotten some precursors as well. This fifth slot is the most interesting. I've had The Girl with the Needle in there for a while, but I haven't seen the massive show of support that it needed, I think. So let's take a look at the chart real quick. You'll see here that we have All We Imagine Is Light in here. However, that was not submitted by India, so it's not going to get nominated because it wasn't submitted. So The Girl with the Needle only has Golden Globe. That's not great. And then Vermiglio is also only has Globe. Flow only has Critics' Choice for international feature. But the reason I'm going with Flow is the fact that it's a pretty solid animated feature contender. It won the Golden Globe, and so people are now thinking that could possibly upset all the way through, could possibly get Critics' Choice. It probably won't get Critics' Choice, actually. Wild Robot will probably win at Critics' Choice, but Flow could win at the Annies, Flow could win at BAFTA, and Flow could end up winning the Oscar. And so I just think that Flow's strength as an animated feature contender is really going to help it out here. And I think Flow could sneak in. It could be one of those double nominee films that we've seen in the past. Things like Flea, which were animated, international, and documentary. I think it could be something like that where Flow gets in here. I think there's enough show support for Flow. At least more so. I think there's more support for Flow over The Girl with the Needle and Vermiglio across the board. And I think that's what you kind of have to base this off of, which is why I'm going to go with Flow in this last spot. And there you have it. Those are my Oscar nomination predictions. We'll see what happens. I have no idea what's going to happen. But I say this every year. I want a healthy mixture of things I get right and surprises. I want a good mixture of both. I like both. It's fun. So we'll see what happens. We're going to get chaos somewhere. I just want to know where. I want the Oscar nominations. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for 700 subscribers. I really, really appreciate it. That honestly is super inspiring for me to keep making these types of videos and to keep making videos I'm interested in. And so thanks for subscribing. I really appreciate you guys. Y'all are the best. Again, thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. And I'll see y'all at the Oscars.